Sports.
After being signed as a minor league free agent, Wandy Rodriguez's role was expected to be that of a fill-in starter, a stopgap for your Rangers rotation ravaged by injuries. He's exceeded all expectations. In his last 2 starts, he's been nothing short of lights out. 2 runs in 14 innings, including a team record 34 consecutive batters retired in those 2 games. The crafty veteran lefty is still here and going strong. He gets the start tonight when your Rangers welcome the Cleveland Indians to Globe Life Park next. Texas Rangers baseball is presented by AT&T Viewers TV. A cloudy overhead, but a warm, humid, and breezy night here at Globe Life Park. A Friday evening starts off the series with the Cleveland Indians and your Texas Rangers. And welcome in, everyone, along with Todd Greaves, Steve Busby. Glad you could join us on this nice Friday evening for Ranger baseball. Rangers looking to take advantage of a Cleveland team that's a little bit down, and tonight they'll turn it over to their veteran left-hander. That would be Wandy Rodriguez, who's been nothing short of great.
He's been excellent in his last 2 starts, Buzz, and the only thing you can think of when you're watching him pitch is how in the world did he ever get released? He's been one of the better pitchers in the American League in his last 2 starts. He's 1-0. He's given up 2 runs in 14 innings. He's walked 2 and struck out 14 in 14 innings, and opponents are hitting 109 in his last 2 starts. He had excellent stuff in his first 2 starts. He didn't have the command. His last 2 starts, he's had the same stuff with really good command.
Oh, so Wandy trying to keep that going tonight. Rangers trying to win a home series for the first time this year. And maybe Adrian Beltre cracks the 400 home run plateau that he is nearing next to 1. We'll have the Indians and the Rangers starting lineups and first pitch coming up right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. On Fox Sports Southwest. It's brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. The EcoBoost Challenge is on at your Texas Ford dealer. Get to your best in Texas Ford dealer today. By AT&T UVerse TV. UVerse has more live TV channels on the go than cable. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Well, a breezy evening here at Globe Life Park. Skies partly cloudy. Maybe you're trying to brew up a storm of offense over this weekend, starting tonight. Mitch Moreland and company looking to score a lot of runs against the Indians. Before we get things started, let's head down to the field and check in with Emily Jones.
Well, Buzz, you and Tom talked about Wandy Rodriguez, and it appears he's trying to give Colby Lewis a run for his money in the most pleasant surprise department for the Rangers this season. And a 1-1 record with a 2.70 ERA and 4 starts is not bad.
No, I feel pretty good right now so far, and I have whatever I need in the game, so I have my curve very good right now, and my location's very good too, so I'm very good.
Wandy says he's not surprised by the success that he's had. He says this is what he expects of himself. Hopefully the trend will continue tonight. One thing that has remained the same for him in these starts with the Rangers is the fact that Carlos Corpora, his former teammate in Houston, is the guy who's catching him, and that trend, of course, will continue tonight, fellas.
All right, Emily, good points. Yeah, that's something to keep an eye on as this game unfolds. Oh, now Tom will fill you in on the Amica starting lineup for the Cleveland Indians.
The Indians are going to start off with their second baseman, Jason Kipnis. First baseman, Carlos Santana, will bat second. Michael Brantley, the center fielder, is third, followed by Ryan Rayburn batting in the cleanup spot today. Nick Swisher is the DH. Brandon Moss hits sixth. Zach Walters, the third baseman, will bat seventh. Brett Hayes, the catcher, is eighth. And the shortstop, Jose Ramirez, is batting ninth.
And that lineup will face the veteran left-hander, Wandy Rodriguez. Progressive brings you the scouting report on Wandy. 1-1, a 270 mark in his 4 starts. He is on a great roll, especially with mixing speeds and location. He has had both of those abilities at their highest level. And the ability to change speeds on the breaking ball is a huge plus. He only throws one kind of breaking ball, but he'll make that all the way from a reasonably hard slider to a very slow curveball. And he'll vary the break on it and vary locations with that also. So a very crafty left-hander, knows how to pitch, knows exactly what he wants to do, and when he is executing, he can be tough on anybody. Now let's take a look at the Rangers defense tonight, delivered to you by Chicken Express. Outfield a little bit different this evening. Kyle Blanks to start in left. Delano Shields at center. Shin-Soo Choo is in right. Mitch Moreland at first. Tommy Field and Elvis Andrus up the middle. Adrian Beltre at third. Carlos Corpora is catching. Now the Indians under Terry Francona coming in at 12-21. They are next to last in the American League. Only Oakland has a poorer record, and Terry Francona tried to figure out what in the world he can do to get his club going. First pitch by Wandy Rodriguez to Jason Kipnis, who's outside for ball 1. Kipnis has become a spark plug for this Indian offense. He has, since moving to the leadoff spot, really ignited what had been a dormant offense. The Indians come in 11th in the American League in runs scored, but they played 2 fewer runs, and in some cases 3 fewer runs than any other team. 8th in the league in batting average at .250. Corcoran coming over, but that's back in the second row of the Indians dugout. Take a look at our T-Mobile game changer, talking about the Cleveland Indians and Jason Kipnis. Since moving to that leadoff spot on April 26th, he has hit .391 with 11 RBI and 14 runs scored. How about an 1161 OPS? And he's reached base safely in 15 of those 17 games.
Another similarity between the Indians and the Rangers, Shin-Soo Choo has really taken off since he moved up to the leadoff spot as well.
That's a good point. Choo, of course, a former Cleveland Indian, had a lot of success with the Tribe. Kipnis battling Rodriguez. And to foul off that pitch. 77 degrees at game time here tonight. 77 muggy degrees here tonight. Wind coming in from right center field at probably 12 to maybe 14 miles an hour. There's a base hit for Kipnis. He went down and got one that was out over the plate. And again, he reaches base to start off the first inning for the Indians.
Now, Kipnis gets a fastball a little bit closer to the middle of the plate than Wandy wanted that pitch. You could see Corporon's glove way on the outside part of the plate, or a little bit off the plate. And as Corporon reaches to his right, the ball hits the middle of the plate and hit the center of Kipnis's bat, lined it sharply into right center field.
The 1-on, nobody out. Carlos Santana, the switch-hitting first baseman, is batting second. And I say that with a little incredulity because we're used to seeing Carlos Santana be right in the middle of the order, fourth, fifth, in a run-producing spot, but he's up at second. Again, Terry Francona trying to find some method to get more consistency in the offense.
Yeah, Santana, based on their lineup right now, is probably better suited to the middle of the lineup than some of the guys hitting in the middle of the lineup. Yeah. But he's such a good on base. He leads the league in walks, in the top 15 in on base percentage. So I think Francona is saying, look, I like his power. He had 27 home runs last year. But I also like his on base percentage. Yeah. I'll take the home runs in the second spot, and I want him getting on base. So we like him in that role.
Yeah, pretty tough to argue with the top three hitters in the Cleveland.
Yeah.
With Kipnis and Santana, then Michael Brantley to follow. Check swing. It's in for a strike. 1-2 now. Santana at 237. He does have 4 home runs. He has driven in 19. That is 3 behind team leader Brandon Moss in the RBI category. Rodriguez a check of first. Kipnis has very good speed over there. And that breaking ball makes it 2-2. Santana always among the league leaders in base on balls. And he has always given the Rangers fits. 35 games. He has 6 home runs. And he's hit .304 against Texas pitching. Now the 2-2 is coming. Got him swinging. Foul tip into the glove of Carlos Corporon. And Santana down for out number 1.
And third, the center fielder, number 23, Michael Brantley.
Yeah, he just basically threw a fastball right down the middle of the plate, and Santana missed it. Santana this year is only a .237 hitter, but he has power and he walks a lot. That's why his on-base percentage is so high. Last year he only hit .231. Had a pretty good on-base percentage because he walked 113 times.
Michael Brantley, without question, the best hitter in the Indians lineup. Takes inside for ball 1. Brantley, a .330 average, 4 home runs, and 18 driven in. Here's a guy that the last several years is really coming into his own, getting recognized around the league, around baseball.
I think based on what we saw from him last year, Buzz, in the year he had, he's one of the 5 or 10 best players in the American League.
I agree.
And if he was playing on the Yankees or some big media market team, maybe more people would know about him, but there's nothing on the field this guy can't do.
Got him on the fist and a little pop fly down the right field line. That'll be out of play. Over to take a look, Shin-Soo Choo.
He's a center fielder. He's made 1 error in over 400 games. Last year he stole 23 out of 24 bases, so when he ran, couldn't throw them out. Hit 45 doubles. He hit his share of home runs. Hit over 300. He's one of those guys you have to say. Sometimes we're a little loose saying a guy's a 5-tool player, but I don't think it's an exaggeration with him.
No, I agree with you. And Brantley takes that one a little bit low and outside. So the count moves to 3-1. Brantley, you see this year, again, reaching base safely in all but 3 of his starts. This is his 28th start. Rodriguez a check of first. And Brantley pulls it by Moreland down the right field line. Kipnis around second. He's motoring into third. And he's going to be waved home. Here comes the throw from field. It is not in time. Brantley on his way to third. He is in with a slide, and the Indians take a 1-0 lead.
Well, they weren't going to get Kipnis at the plate, but when the ball got to Corcoran at the plate, he had a great shot at Brantley going to third base, but he couldn't get the ball with a good grip with his right hand. When he went to throw it, he didn't have the ball. When he looked at third base, Brantley was only about halfway to third. Just couldn't get rid of the ball. Kid's got a nice smooth swing, boy. Took that fastball and ripped it down the right field line.
So Indians with a 1-0 lead. Brantley at third now. Ryan Rayburn takes a big breaking ball from Wandy Rodriguez for strike one. Rangers playing the infield in, right at the cut of the grass. Trying to cut down that run that Brantley is carrying. Rayburn doing a lot of damage against left-handed pitching. Hitting .353 this year with 12 runs driven in. Another look at that triple is Shin-Soo Choo played it as well as he could. But the relay just not in time. 0-2 to Ryan Rayburn. Rayburn hitting .429 against left-handers this year. 18 for 42. Last 21 games, he's been a .409 hitter. And again, most of that playing against left-handers. 1-2 now. Wandy already up to 20 pitches here in the first inning. Indians extending him a bit. Tried that breaking ball again and left it outside. 2-2. Now the Indians, as we mentioned, coming in fifth place in the American League Central. They're 9 games behind Kansas City. They are 6-9. They played better on the road than they have at home. Popped up. Field going out in the shallow right. Choo coming on, making the call. And he makes the catch. Brantley has to stay at third. That is a big out number 2.
Now, going back on pop-ups is difficult for an outfielder because a lot of times you have your back to the plate. They're coming straight down, and it's a much easier play for the outfielder. And when the infield is way in like that, it's even harder because you've got farther to go. You can see where Tommy starts out on the grass. So he's going to be struggling to get back in time. Fortunately, Shin-Soo has it all the way. It calls him off, and you can see how much easier it is for the outfielder coming in like that than it is for the second baseman sprinting with his back to the plate trying to get back on it.
So with 2 outs now, the infield back at normal depth. And Nick Swisher, a designated hitter, up to the plate. Swisher, a switch hitter, up there from the right side. Rodriguez will continue to work from the stretch with Brantley at third, and the first pitch is ball 1. Swisher coming back from pretty drastic knee surgery that he endured last year. Spent the first month of the season rehabbing that. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Indians activated him just about 12 days ago. Another guy that will take a walk. Swisher's always been a very selective, patient hitter. And Rodriguez with the advantage in the count at a ball and 2 strikes. Rodriguez peering in for the signs from Carlos Corcoran. 2-2. Swisher now a 34-year-old veteran, signed a long-term free agent contract with the Indians. Really hasn't provided the return on the investment the Indians hoped for. Health has been a big issue for him. Rodriguez to the plate. Still 2-2. Go back 9 years, since 2006. Swisher is 6th in Major League Baseball in walks. Always been a medium average hitter, but a lot of home runs, a lot of walks, high on base percentage. Lines this one to right center. That is down and into the alley. It's by Chu all the way to the wall. Brantley scores. Swisher will be into second, standing with a 2-out RBI double. It is 2-0 Cleveland.
Well, that looked like right down where Swisher liked it. Pitch down, bottom of the strike zone, it looked like, but out over the plate. And Swisher takes a nice swing. He's trying to throw it down and away. It's down, but it comes back to the middle of the plate. A couple of times early in the game, that same problem has hurt Wandy. It happened to Kipnis, was trying to throw the ball away. Came back to the middle of the plate. Trying to throw that ball down and away to Swisher. It came toward the middle of the plate. Both of them lined it sharply into right field.
Andy Hawkins out to the mound. Pitching coach Mike Maddox away for his daughter's graduation this weekend. Lexi is graduated from college, so Andy Hawkins doing that. Now he doesn't do the right-hand grip, so Andy hasn't picked that up. Well, he's going to leave that to Mike.
Yeah.
And a little breather for Wandy Rodriguez, get him back focused on what needs to happen to end this inning. Swisher at second base, Brandon Moss. Left-handed hitting outfielder. A .238 average, but he has 5 home runs. And he's the team leader with 22 runs batted in. Wandy starts him off with a hook for strike 1.
Long first inning for Wandy. This will be his 30th pitch in the first inning.
Changing the angle of that breaking ball just a little bit, but it was wide. 1-1. Now 2-1. Moss, you remember, had some hip surgery at the end of last October. And he was picked up by the Indians from Oakland back on December the 8th. Rehabbing that hip problem. Up the middle, but that's exactly where Elvis Andrus is positioned. On the first, that'll do it. Indians, though, get on the board. A couple of runs on 3 hits. And 1 man left after half inning of play. The Indians 2, the Rangers coming up. Airlines starting lineup that'll try to come back.
You can see the leadoff hitter. That's Shin-Soo Choo. Elvis Andrus is batting second. Prince Fielder is third, and Adrian Beltre is fourth. Kyle Blanks gets the start in left field. Tonight he'll bat fifth. Mitch Moreland at first base, bat sixth. Tommy Field is batting seventh. Carlos Corporan is catching, and Delino DeShields, again in center field, will bat ninth.
And that lineup is facing the 37-year-old left-hander Bruce Chen. Rangers going to try to get to him early and give Chen an opportunity to settle into a ball game. And he, pretty sharp pitcher. He can get things done. And Chu is going to ground out to Kipnis, and that's how it begins against Bruce Chen. Now, don't let him go to his secondary pitches. If you can keep him out of those, you can get to his fastball early in the count, and he is the definition of a crafty lefty. In, out, up, down, off speed. His fastball will average in the mid-80s, and not the high mid-80s, the low mid-80s. Talking about 84, 85 miles an hour. But that's enough for him to pitch with. Chen is pitching for his 11th different team.
If he can throw a lot of pitches at 85, he'll probably feel like he's got his best fastball today.
Well, one good thing about it for him, he's throwing with the wind, so that'll help.
But again, he's been around a long time, and he's had enough success to where it doesn't really make much difference what the velocity of his fastball is. Yep. He's figured out how to pitch well with it, with the velocity that he does have. Hitter's just lucky he doesn't throw 95. They'd never get a hit off him.
Elvis up there with one out, the base is empty. Elvis hitting at 223, a home run and 9 driven in. The 1-2 pitch coming. Base hit to right field. Elvis doing a very good job of taking that pitch the other way.
I think that's a smart thing to do against Chen. He's not throwing hard, and try to hit him up the middle or maybe going a little bit towards second base as a right-hand hitter. Allows you to wait on the ball better. You're going to see a lot of slow pitches, off-speed pitches, sliders, changeups. I think you play right into his hand if you try to pull the ball. Mm-hmm. That's a good approach right there. Wait on it, go the other way with it.
So Elvis at first now with one out. And Prince Fielder, who has had quite a bit of experience against Chen, steps in. He hammers one. High and deep to right field. There she goes. Goodbye. One swing of Fielder's bat, and we have a brand new ball game tied at 2.
Took the Indians a lot longer to get their 2 runs than it did the Rangers. Now that was probably not a real good idea for Chen to throw him that 82-mile-an-hour fastball for a strike on the first pitch.
That is Fielder's 3rd career home run in 23 at-bats against Bruce Chen.
Yeah, I think Chen would probably do better for the rest of this game not to throw him a strike.
Now Adrian doing a little dance step to avoid that pitch. Beltre at 243. He has 4 home runs. Prince Fielder now has 5 home runs with that 2-run blast. Pitch is low, and it's 3 balls and 1 strike.
I don't know if that was a fastball or a slider. It might have been a slider. Whatever it was.
Beltre drives one to center field. Randy's going back at the track. Goodbye! Adrian Beltre, home run number 400, and the Rangers take a 3-2 lead. Putting it up on the board. Adrian Beltre now all alone in 52nd place all time. 400 career home run.
I think Adrian's becoming the same kind of a player and the same player looked at by the fans as Pudge Rodriguez was. Fans love him. You talk to the kids, who's your favorite player, and invariably they'll say Adrian Beltre, just like they used to with Pudge.
So back-to-back thunder. Fielder and Beltre. Rangers now lead at 3-2.
I think, Buzz, they're just trying to reward us for highlighting them in the pregame show. We talked about the middle of the lineup and what they've been doing.
Kyle Blanks looped one into center for a base hit. Well, we appreciate that.
Yeah, very nice of them to keep on doing what they've been doing. Talked about what they've been doing in the middle of the lineup, providing offense in the month of May. Boy, he's made a couple of pitches to Fielder and Beltre that if he was trying to give up a home run, he couldn't have made a better pitch.
Well, I will say one thing in Chen's defense, that was a 3-0 pitch.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know, you're not trying to throw a real quality pitch. You're trying to throw a strike. And Adrian said, fine. I'll take that. And I'll send it about 415 feet to dead center.
Yeah, I guess you kind of have a choice to make. Are you gonna try to make a good pitch, or are you gonna try to assume that he's not going to swing at it?
Right.
And he was swinging 3-0 on that pitch.
Well, the Rangers now 4 consecutive hits, 2 singles, 2 home runs. Mitch Moreland up there with Kyle Blanks at first. The first breaking ball hangs inside.
Chen's only had 1 start for the Indians. He pitched 4 innings, gave up 10 hits and 6 runs in that start. And this one hasn't started very well for him either.
1-1 to Moreland. Mitch hitting at 302. He has a home run and 9 driven in. This Mitch's 3rd game since coming back into the lineup. 2 for 7 in the first couple of ball games with a walk. And pulled just foul down the first baseline.
The Indians had 2 runs on 3 hits and forced Wandy to throw 30-plus pitches in the first inning. Rangers have gotten their 3 runs quickly. Only 16 pitches for Chen. They've had 4 straight hits.
And Chen only has 1 out, so he's got a chance to get up there.
He does. Rangers might have more than what they've got right now.
A ball and 2 strikes to Moreland. Got him swinging. Foul tip into the glove of Hayes, and that is out number 2. One more look at Adrian Beltre and the 400th career home run. The 2 outs. Tommy Field takes strike 1. Kyle Blank still at first. Field at 267. This is his 5th game in a Ranger uniform. Adrian Beltre and Prince Fielder, the back-to-back home run hitters. Uh-oh, look out. Tommy Field homered in his Ranger debut. His first major league home run. Takes that one low and inside. And the count moves to 2-1. Field called up on Monday. Joined the ball club. Rougned Odor optioned to AAA. I understand Rougned's off to a pretty good start with Round Rock. That's good to hear. Sharply hit out to Kipnis and on to first. That is the end of the Ranger first, but they regain the lead. Back-to-back home runs. Prince Fielder and Adrian Beltre. Beltre with career home run number 400. 3 runs on 4 hits, 1 left after 1. 3-2 Rangers. Well, Rangers 3-2 over the Indians, and Adrian Beltre. Congratulations to the great Ranger third baseman. Number 52 now on the all-time home run list is number 400. Went on to Greens Hill in dead center field. Broke a tie with Al Kaline, Andres Galarraga. Big sign out in center field congratulating Adrian. I think there are a few more left in him before it's all said and done. And Wandy Rodriguez now pitching with a lead at 3-2, and Zach Walters playing third base.
Boy, Al Kaline played for all those years and needed one more home run to hit 400.
Yeah.
Probably looks back and sees about 10 times someone took one over the fence and brought it back.
Brett Hayes coming up. Let's welcome in Jim Knox to the program. Jim.
Oh, I appreciate it, Buzz. Ranger fans. Nice artwork. Happy about the Rangers taking the lead there last half inning. How about Foundation Fridays? The Rangers Foundation and MCA teaming up for Fitness All-Stars. This is going on in the Arlington area with fifth graders. Derek Holland, a big part of this.
What we're trying to do with the MCA is just trying to give back to the kids, show them the right way to eat their food, exercising, eating healthy. The main thing is just being active is the main focus that we're trying to keep these kids so they're not staying inside. They're coming outside playing baseball, playing football, playing all the sports, whatever it is. And then also looking at labels when they eat, know what the nutritional value is. So, we're just trying to teach them the proper way of keeping a healthy body.
For more information, go on TexasRangers.com to find out more about the Fitness All-Stars. Now you guys can stand up the whole game with those signs. All right, there we go. All right, Buzz.
All right, Doctor. Brett Hayes gets it pretty deep to right field, but Chu has room back there and makes the grab just as he steps onto the warning track in front of the Globe Life sign in right center field. That's out number 2. Next will be Jose Ramirez, the shortstop. Wandy, who gave up 2 runs on 3 hits in the first inning and had to throw more than 30 pitches, has 2 outs here and very little, a very small number of pitches. And he fires strike 1 to Jose Ramirez. Ramirez, a switch hitter, batting at 178, a home run and 3 driven in. Big breaking ball that just missed inside. And it's popped up. On the right side of the diamond, Moreland backpedaling. He's called off by Tommy Field. And that'll do it. Oh, a very nice shutdown inning. A 1-2-3 frame for Wandy Rodriguez and the Rangers. We played 1.5 in Arlington. Rangers 3, Indians 2. Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. The EcoBoost Challenge is on at your Texas Ford dealer. Get to your best in Texas Ford dealer today. The Rangers come to bat here in the bottom of the second inning. Carlos Corcoran pops up the first pitch back into the seats over there to take a look. Carlos Santana, Jason Kipnis. Get that well out of reach. So it is strike one. Nice crowd on hand here tonight. This Friday night. Fireworks after the game. Rangers have provided some first inning fireworks here tonight. Fielder and Beltre setting the bombs off. High and tight. 1 ball and 1 strike to Corcoran. Carlos at 196. The home run, 4 driven in. And this one popped up. Third base side. Walters through the coach's box, kind of stumbling around. Had no idea where he was.
Well, that's one of the perils when you drift after the ball. And that kind of a ball, you know there's going to be a wall there. You've got to get there as quickly as you can, find the wall, and then react to the ball. But when you're drifting after it, the longer it takes, the less you're sure where you are. He doesn't know whether he's near the dugout or 6 or 7 feet away, like it turned out that he was.
Zach Walters kind of playing out of position. There's a base hit to center. So Corcoran takes advantage immediately of the misplay. Corcoran with a leadoff single. That play, by the way, by Walters, he scored an error. I felt that should have made the catch on it. Yeah. Corcoran made the most of it, got his base hit. 1 on, nobody out. Delino to Shields is up there now. Trying to bunt his way aboard and fouls it off. Delino again trying to push that bunt out towards second and use his great speed. And this is something the Rangers have been working on. The Shields and Leonis Martin when he's able to. A lot of the guys with good speed. Tommy Field out there way before batting practice. Bunting. Elvis is out there with him. That bunt is down. It's a good one. Delino scooped gathering safe.
Wow. I don't think I've ever seen a right-hand hitter get down to first base that fast.
The Shields with a 6-game hitting streak now, and boy, that is using your God-given tools.
I'll bet you that's under 4 seconds to first base. That's got to be 3.6, 3.7. Chen actually did a very nice job fielding that ball. There's nothing he could have done any better, and he still didn't get him to first base.
And it didn't look like that was really close. I thought he was a step beyond the bag when the throw got there.
What a weapon.
Something else. No, back-to-back singles open up the Rangers' second. And here is Shin-Soo Choo, who grounded out to second to begin things for the Rangers. 0 for 1 tonight, hitting at .243. Choo with the longest active streak of 14 games now in the American League. Is second in baseball. Takes that pitch a little bit low. It's 2-0. Wilson Ramos of the Nationals in Washington, 16-game hitting streak that is active as of the start of play today. Left center field, that's hit pretty well. It's up the alley. Rayburn going back at the wall, and he makes the catch and tumbles off the padding.
What a catch.
He hung on to it, and I don't know how in the world he did that.
I can't believe he caught that ball. That is some kind of play. Choo reached out and hit that ball 391 feet.
Rayburn waving Terry Francona and the Tribe trainer back to the dugout. So, you okay? Yeah. Just don't have any idea what zip code I'm in, but I'm all right.
I gotta take another look at this one. Caught it like he had it all the way.
Great play.
The way he had his back to the plate, I thought he was getting ready to play it off the wall.
Yeah.
Instead, he just stuck out his catch, stuck out his glove and made the catch. What a play.
Sure was. Very alertly, Carlos Corcoran tagging up and moving on to third after that catch. Well, the Rangers with runners at the corners and one out. Elvis Andrus will be the hitter after they get through tending to Ryan Rayburn.
Yeah, that's a good point, Buzz. You look at Carlos Corcoran and say he's a catcher, he's not that fast, but this is good instincts. He sees him catch it, and he knows he's not going to be able to get it back in, and he goes back and tags up and gets to third base. You don't have to be fast to make a good base running player. Very good instincts by Carlos to do that. Ryan Webb getting ready down in the bullpen.
So one out. Runners at first and third. Elvis had a base hit to right his first time up. And Chen will drive DeShields back at first. I would imagine that you will see Delino DeShields take off at the first opportunity that he has against Chen. Delino 9 out of 10 in stolen base category. He's getting a pretty good read on him. Hector Ortiz, the first base coach over there, to impart the information to Delino. Rangers coming to play tonight, third in the American League with 27 stolen bases as a team. They've been successful on 21 of the last 25 attempts. And Bruce Chen not making any fans in the Globe Life Park tonight. Too many throws over there, they feel. The left-hander comes set and fires strike one. Take a look at our Ford leaderboard and active career leaders against the Cleveland Indians. Elvis, who hit safely in his first 39 games against the Tribe, still hitting .360. Double play ground ball to Kipnis. They turn it over at second, and that takes care of the Rangers in the second. No runs, 2 hits, and 1 man left. After 2, it's the Rangers 3 and the Indians 2 on Fox Sports Southwest. And older will receive a Texas Rangers camo cap, and that's courtesy of Fanatics. Come join us at Globe Life Park. Rangers and the Cleveland Indians play Game 2 of this series, and pick up your Rangers camo cap. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or call 972-RANGERS. Top of the order for the Cleveland Indians here in the third inning. Jason Kipnis, who began things tonight by singling to right center field, starts things off. Rangers with a 3-2 lead. 2 balls, no strikes. Next pitch for Wandy Rodriguez will be number 45 of the evening. And he gets the strike on the inside corner. Wandy 27 strikes, 18 balls tonight. Tommy Field able to cut it off and shallow right field. And that throws Kipnis out. Nice play by Tommy Field.
Very nice play. Tommy looks very reliable at second base. Looks like he's got really good hands, solid range, and a strong arm. He'll go a long way to get that ball.
Well, one out. Carlos Santana coming up. And let's check in again with Jim Knott. Jim?
All right, Buzz, real quick. Special guest, honorary Batgirl for the Rangers, Leanne Evans. Her brother Will nominated her. You wrote a letter to Major League Baseball. Leanne had breast cancer, and now she is cancer-free. But Will nominated her by writing a letter to MLB. What did you say, Will?
I basically told him the truth. She's the most wonderful person I've ever known. And, it strikes you pretty hard to hear news like this, Noxie, but you pray to God above and praise to God that she's healed, because she got news on opening day this year that she's cancer-free. So all you got to do is tell them the truth, and she's just wonderful.
So you nominated your sister, and she represents the Rangers, as well as other major league teams also nominate individual that have been going through breast cancer. But Leanne, you congratulations, you're cancer-free right now. Now that you're a big Ranger fan and you've been enjoying the team, and what does it mean to you to be sitting here this day knowing you're the honorary Batgirl?
It is just very humbling to be representing so many people who are battling or who have won the battle or valiantly fought the battle. But it's just an amazing experience. I wish I could share it with everybody, every one of them.
Well, there you go. Well, congratulations, and we'll let you get back to enjoying the game. Appreciate it, Buzz.
All right, Noxie, thank you. A lot of great stories like that, and it's glad the baseball can honor the folks that so richly deserve it. Well, 2 outs very quickly here in the third inning. Here's Michael Brantley. Looking to strike one. Brantley had the RBI double in the first inning. Drove in his 19th run of the year. 336.
Well, this is one top of the lineup, 1, 2, 3. That's very difficult to get in order. 1, 2, 3 for a 1, 2, 3 inning. Santana walks 100 times. Kipnis is a 300 hitter. Brantley's an on-base percentage guy, over 400. You get Brantley right here and have a 1, 2, 3 inning. Pretty solid inning for you. Also takes care of their 3 best hitters, too. Won't have to see him for 6 more hitters.
Wandy working hard on this humid night here at Globe Life Park. 2 balls and a strike to count.
Got another example of what a great player Brantley is, just looking at the stats. He's played 27 games. He's been up 106 times. He's walked 13 times, which is a solid number. He's struck out 5 times. 13 walks and 5 strikeouts for the middle of the lineup guy. That's just amazing.
It is.
And that's why he's such a good hitter. Not because he doesn't strike out, but because he doesn't strike out, he's a 330 hitter.
At 2-2. Boy, just missed the outside. Couldn't tempt him.
He's one of those guys, Buzz, that just makes the game look easy. Everything is smooth. Doesn't look like he has to exert himself. Nice, easy swing. Smooth runner. Good outfielder. Look at that swing.
Breaking ball on 3-2, and he just kind of kept the hands back and roped it into right field for a 2-out single.
Another guy that had a smooth swing like that, played for the Indians, was David Justice.
Well, 1 on 2 out. Ryan Rayburn coming up. Let's send it over to Dana Larson for a Mazda game break. Thank you, Dana. Here the Rangers have a 3-2 lead. And Wandy Rodriguez dealing to Ryan Rayburn. 0-1 after the foul ball. Rayburn skied out to pretty deep right field his first time up there. Rayburn a 346 average as he faces Wandy Rodriguez. Brantley at first with very good speed. 0 in 2. There's another case of Wandy changing speeds on that breaking ball, changing the angle of the breaking ball just a little bit. Left-hander reading the signs from Carlos Corcoran. The 0-2. Rayburn, a guy we mentioned that in the lineup against left-handers every time. There goes Brantley. The pitch is low. The throw is late. And in with a stolen base is Michael Brantley.
I mentioned last year Brantley was 23 out of 24 stealing bases. Success rate early hasn't been quite the same. He was 0 for 2. No, take that back. I'm looking at the wrong column. He's 6 for 6.
Yeah.
I was looking at the round in the double play column. So he's on the pace to do the same thing he did last year when he's only thrown out one time all year long. He hasn't been thrown out at all yet.
And Rayburn down swinging. That will do it for the Indians. No runs a hit, 1 man left after 2.5. It's the Rangers 3 and the Indians 2. On Friday, May 29th, the Rangers play the second of a 4-game set against the Boston Red Sox. Fans will also be treated to a post-game fireworks show set to music that will kick off the start of summer. Head to TexasRangers.com/ticket to pick up your seats. One gone.
Third baseman, Beltre.
Introduction after hitting home run number 400. Well, Beltre now with 5 home runs, 13 RBI. Fielder upped his total to 5 and 22. As they went back-to-back in the first inning, Adrian takes strike 1. Beltre drive to left field. That is hooking into the corner, and it is off the wall on a short hop. Rayburn getting it back in. Beltre with a home run, now a double. Pretty good start on his way to the cycle tonight.
Well, Adrian was below 200 for April, but it hasn't been quite that way in May. Came into the game with his average all the way up to 243. He's probably over 250 now, or right at 250. 2 well-hit balls, a home run to center and a rope to left field. Pretty good start for him.
And Terry Francona out to the mound as we get another look at Adrian driving that ball into the corner. And that's going to be the last hit of the Bruce Chen faces tonight. Terry Francona taking out the left-hander, calling for the right-hander Ryan Webb. We'll tell you all about him when we come back after this timeout. 3-2 Rangers on Fox Sports Southwest. Base hit was his double was the hit that drove Bruce Chen from the ball game. And now Ryan Webb, big tall right-hander on, the 29-year-old who lives in Cincinnati down in the southern part of the state from Cleveland. Ryan Webb in his 7th ball game. Opponents hitting just 172 against the right-hander. Webb signed with the Indians back on the 13th of April. After he took free agency, the Dodgers outrighted him at the end of spring training. The Dodgers had acquired Webb from Baltimore just a few days before. Well, he had been a well-traveled man, 3 teams in the span of about 4 days. Kyle Blanks 1 for 1 tonight. Singled his first time up. Beltre at second, 1 out in the 3rd inning. Blanks now with a .327 average as he faces Webb. Ryan Webb, 51 games last year for the Orioles. Prior to that, he'd seen time with the Marlins and the Padres. Hard hit ball, but right there is Zach Walters. Low throw, and Santana can't handle it. Blanks is safely aboard. I would imagine that's going to be a throwing error on Zach Walters, the third baseman. Again, Walters playing out of position. He's a shortstop by trade, having to play third. Johnny Chisenhall is on the disabled list. Well, the long hop off the grass, and Santana couldn't come up with it. They're going to rule that an error on Walters. Second Indian error of the night. So 2 on with 1 out. Beltre stayed at second on the play. Here's Mitch Moreland. Takes a strike on the outside corner. Mitch went down swinging against Bruce Chen in the first inning. Mitch was the only strikeout that the left-hander rang up tonight. Chen gave up 7 hits and 2 in the third innings. Been charged so far with 3 runs. They all came in the first. Rangers looking for more. Chen is responsible for Adrian Beltre at second base. Beltre establishing his lead, and Webb will check him. That got Mitch on the foot, on the shin. He's going to have to walk that off for a minute. Mitch, like so many guys, wears that shin protector on his front leg. That only covers so much.
I guess that's where most of them hit, but not all of them.
Mitch this year, 6 out of 14 with runners in scoring position. 1 ball, 2 strikes. When you foul one off your foot like that, Tom, do you have to make yourself get back in the box and say it doesn't hurt?
You have to wait as long as you can. You feel the pressure of getting back in there because you don't want to hold up the game, but at the same time, it's hard to concentrate without anything hurting. When you get in there and all you can think about is your ankle throbbing, you just don't have the concentration that you need to hit. So you wait as long as you're comfortable waiting, and eventually you just have to get back in there and kind of suck it up. And you see Mitch is
pretty well hobbled.
Yeah, he's hobbled. He couldn't even take a full swing after that.
That breaking ball didn't help him out too much. I mean, that was a nasty breaking ball from Webb. That is out number 2, and it'll bring up Tommy Field.
And it's probably going to be that kind of a pitch that's going to cause you to take that kind of a swing and be off balance and feel it even more.
No, 2 on, 2 out now. Tommy Field grounded out to second, his first time up there. And Webb delivers strike 1. Tommy Field hitting at .250 his first go around with the Rangers. Webb a high set. This is inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Webb, a big guy out there. He's 6'6" and 245 pounds is what he's listed at. Throwing from the sidearm slot. It probably looks like that ball's coming out of the shortstop area. Tough on right-handed hitters. And Tommy Field chopped one off his front leg.
He's got a little bit of that Justin Masterson look to him.
Uh-huh.
Tall guy with I guess it's a sidearm delivery, an underhand delivery, extreme sidearm delivery. Good sinking action on his fastball.
You know, originally it was property of the Oakland A's. Took him in the 2004 draft in the 4th round. 1-2. We'll try it again. Webb was with Oakland until the 2009 season. He went down to San Diego. Trade brought him down to the Padres. Spent parts of 3 years there. The Marlins sent Cameron Maben to the Padres for him. 1-2 again instead. Webb looking back toward second. Rangers 3 runs on 7 hits tonight. Adrian Beltre has 2 of those hits, and Kyle Blanks has 1. Inside and got it. Webb came close a couple of times, and finally Tommy Field took one that he couldn't get out of the way of, and that loads the bases for Carlos Corcoran.
Didn't have a prayer getting out of the way of that one. Just kept boring in on him.
The further Tommy got from home plate, the more that ball got into him.
Yep.
So base is full. Corcoran will turn around to bat from the left side against the right-hander Webb. Corcoran singled against Bruce Chen. He chops that first pitch from Webb foul for strike one. Carlos now, that average back up over the 200 mark, 213. Rangers missed an opportunity in the second inning. At first and second, nobody out, and didn't score. Here they have bases loaded and 2 outs. 1 ball and 1 strike. Webb back to the plate. 1-2. Beltre at third, Blanks at second. Tommy Field over at first. Carlos Corcoran trying to get his mind right before he steps back in the box. Down on the count, 1-2. Red Hayes flashing the signs out. And Webb is ready. Webb would be pretty tough coming from that angle, and a lot of hitters.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that if he starts it out inside and you go to swing at it with that kind of movement, it's going to move right in on your fist. He's able to locate it where he wants to.
Right-hander again ready.
What was that?
I don't know, but that bat is the worse for wear for it. That'll do it for the Rangers. No runs on a hit, an error, and 3 men left. On to the fourth we go. 3-2 Rangers. Finning joining us, as always, for the fourth here at home. Mark McLemore. Mac, good to see you. Where's Tom?
We're missing somebody. I don't know where he is.
Where'd he go? Wait a minute.
You lost? Oh, there he is.
Uh-oh. Tom found a new job. What's going on? What's this? Is it breakfast?
Wow.
What do we have?
That's pretty good.
What's all this about?
I wanted to bring you breakfast so you guys could start thinking about early tomorrow morning and what we've got going on tomorrow morning.
You know, I'm glad you reminded me. I almost forgot that big UFC fight
there
we've got going. And tomorrow, 2 legendary fighters square off. It's a special morning. It's a morning edition of the UFC Fight Night, as the former champion Frankie Edgar takes on the California Kid Uriah Faber. And and that's the first time that they have ever fought. UFC Fight Night is live from Manila tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, only on Fox Sports 1, and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. So that's what this is all about. Yeah, breakfast all set for us. Thank you for the breakfast. That's all.
You're welcome. Nice. You want a tip for this too, right?
What's that?
You want a tip for this too, right?
Well, that's up to you. I mean, if you think the service merited a tip, that's fine. I just want to let you guys know that that's one good-looking breakfast.
Look at that.
Wait,
go for it.
Okay.
I'm going to eat the roll.
I think
Matt,
I think
you can have the eggs. Buzz, you can have the toast and bacon.
I think you're eating your tip. How was that? Pretty tasty?
That's pretty good. All right. How'd they get that guy in second base?
Had a double. Well, get up early tomorrow now, 9 o'clock tomorrow. Edgar and Faber live from Manila. Two legendary fighters squaring off. It's a special morning edition of UFC Fight Night. That's Frankie Edgar and Uriah Faber. That'll be the first time that they have ever matched up. UFC Fight Night is live from Manila, and it's tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, only on Fox Sports 1, and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
Third baseman Zach Walters.
You don't mind if I signed that to my room, do you?
No, that's okay. That's okay. Right. Just don't forget the waiter. They don't pay us a lot. We depend on tips.
Share those tips with everybody, right?
I could have dropped that thing from a foot down. That orange juice wouldn't have spilled.
Well, the Rangers now pulling the infield all the way in. We got Nick Swisher down at third base. And Zach Walters, who is 0 for 9 in his time with the Indians, up there. Wandy Rodriguez, a count of 1 ball and no strikes, trying to prevent the tying run from coming home. And that base hit is going to bring the tying run home. Swisher down the line to score. And the first hit for Zach Walters. RBI base hit, his first RBI. And it is a tie ball game now, 3-3. Zach Walters gets the job done against Wandy Rodriguez.
If you're going to get your first hit, you might as well make it a rope. He got a high fastball, and it was a rope right in the middle of the plate. He smashed that thing into left field.
Walters, who came over last year from the Washington Nationals, now swinging on the first pitch. Brett Hayes drives the ball to the warning track in left. That's hauled in by Kyle Blanks. Walters back to first. He's there with 2 outs now, and Jose Ramirez.
Shortstop Jose Ramirez.
Blanks looks pretty comfortable out there in left field, being out there for the first time this year anyway. He's played some outfield before, over 100 games out there in left field, so he looks pretty comfortable, especially right now with the sky the way it is. It's a tough sky right about now.
Kind of dusky, not the same color as the ball when you look up there.
That is not a good thing. That is when you go into straight panic mode. You know it's coming your way somewhere. You just have to find it before it hits the ground. Especially when it's an easy pop-up and you can't see it. You feel terrible if it hits the grass.
Right, feel worse if it clanged off your head, I would think.
You're right about that.
Good breaking ball from Rodriguez. Bends over the inside corner to Ramirez. Jose Ramirez popped out his first time up. A 176 average. Switch hitting shortstop. Got Zach Walters, who has pretty good speed at first base. Two balls and a strike. Now this is the kind of problem that Wandy Rodriguez had his first couple of starts, where his command was off enough that he had to use a lot of pitches to work through. That ball is hit deep down the left field line. Blanks into the corner and right at the wall, makes the catch in fair territory. The Ramirez gave it a pretty good ride, but Blank's able to track it down. The Indians tie the ball game. A run on 2 hits and 1 left. 3-3 the score. Presented by Majestic. Fans who wear a Ranger jersey at the game that night will get to participate in a pregame parade and will receive a voucher for a free ticket to select games in August and September. Plus, Texas Ranger retail locations are offering 15% off Rangers jerseys now until the 29th. Get tickets for May 29th at TexasRangers.com. Bottom of the 4th inning, Delino DeShields leading off against Ryan Webb. And DeShields, who bunted his way aboard in the 2nd inning. Because of that, he had both cornermen for the Tribe.
I don't think they wanted to do it again. If he bunts that same bunt down the first baseline, they can't stop it.
No, that's just there's a spot down the 3rd baseline and 1st baseline where it really just doesn't matter. If you can drop it there, they have no play on you, especially with his speed.
1 ball, 1 strike.
We were wondering how many right-hand hitters we ever saw get to first base faster than he just got to first base on that bunt.
I'll tell you what, he can motor down that line, that's for sure.
And that breaking ball just catches the outside corner. It's a ball and 2 strikes.
There are probably some guys that are as fast, but I'm really trying to think of some guys that are in the game right now that are that quick.
Yeah.
Billy Hamilton may be one.
Right.
But there are very few guys that have that kind of quickness.
Walters up with it quickly and on to first. DeShields retired for the first out. So DeShields retired. Back to the top of the order now. Shin-Soo Choo will be the hitter. Choo last time up lofted a fly ball to deepest left center field. Hit it right to the 390 mark out there. And only a great play by Ryan Rayburn prevented that from being extra bases and driving in a couple. But Choo 0 for 2 tonight. Trying to bunt his way aboard and bunts it foul.
Boy, there's been a lot of opportunities for base hits. Not just for Ranger hitters, but other hitters. And when Mitch has tried it, when Choo has tried it, they just haven't been able to keep it fair. Peguero even tried one. They can just roll it down the 3rd baseline. They've got a base hit.
Yep. The 0-1 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I guess that's what makes it a little bit harder when you've got all that area to play with.
Yeah.
And I've just got to get it over there. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just over there somewhere, and you can't get it down there.
In the back of their mind, they're also thinking, I can't let the pitcher get it, though.
And a 3-hopper out to Kipnis. Maybe we'll throw Chu out by a couple of steps. 2 gone. 2 up, 2 away. Now Elvis Andrus will face Ryan Webb. Well, Webb has done a very good job since coming on to replace Bruce Chen. Is not allowed a hit. He's allowed a couple of base runners, one on an error and one in a hit batter. But as you would figure with his kind of stuff we're talking about with Ryan Webb, he gets a lot of ground balls. 3 of the 4 outs have been on ground balls. Elvis takes inside for ball 1. Elvis 1 for 2 tonight. Singled in the first, rounded into a double play in the second. Pretty nasty slider from Webb. 1-1. Two balls and a strike. Handful of Rangers have a little bit of experience against Ryan Webb when he was a member of the Orioles. Elvis not one of those. 2-2 now. Elvis with the average at 227 as he bats here with 2 outs in the 4th inning. A 3-3 ball game. Rangers with 7 hits, the Indians with 6. The Indians have committed 2 errors, the only 2 of the game. And the count has gone full. So Elvis trying to get aboard with 2 outs. Prince Fielder, the Ranger DH, waits to be next.
And Elvis has to feel good when Cleveland comes to town, or that we go play Cleveland.
Yeah.
Just knowing that you're going to get a hit or a couple of hits.
Got him swinging. Pretty good breaking ball from Webb, and Elvis couldn't make contact. 3 up, 3 down. Rangers are out on the 4th. We'll go to the 5th, tied at 3. Rangers baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by the Mazda 6. J.D. Power has awarded the Mazda 6 highest ranked vehicle appeal among mid-sized cars. 5th inning, top of the Indian order, facing Wandy Rodriguez, Jason Kipnis, Carlos Santana, and Michael Brantley. Kipnis 1 for 2 tonight. make that 2 for 3 as he pounds that pitch into center field, a leadoff base hit. And Kipnis continuing to be the spark in the leadoff spot for the Indians. His second hit tonight. Well, the hits now are even at 7 apiece, and the runs even at 3 apiece. Carlos Corcoran going to go out and just a little chat with Wandy Rodriguez. Carlos Santana will be the hitter. They've dealt with Santana pretty effectively. Strikeout in the first, a ground ball to short in the third inning. Well, that conference is concluded. Santana at 233, but he's also first in the league in walks again. 29 of them. On base percentage is 13th. The 386. First pitch is ball 1. And you put him in a category by himself too. The major league walk leader from 2011 to 2015 over the likes of Joey Votto, who was second. Santana has 16 more walks than Votto over that time.
We're talking about guys who walk more than they strike out. It's very rare. Certainly rare when you've got a middle of the order guy like Brantley. He's walked 13 times and struck out 5. Santana does it too because of how many times he walks. He's struck out a decent amount, 23, but he's walked 29 times. At the end of the year, if you walked more than you struck out, it doesn't matter if you strike out 300 times. If you walk more than you strike out, you've had a pretty good year.
Brantley waiting to be next. Carlos Santana back in there. A count of 1 ball and 1 strike. Jason Kipnis, the runner at first. Wandy will drive him back with a toss. And the Indians, as a team this year, not a big running team. 17 stolen bases in 24 attempts. And with Brantley's tonight, that's 18 stolen bases. Brantley with his 6th. Pitch is high, 2-1. But as Tom pointed out, very efficient, especially with Brantley.
When you look at Brantley's the hardest batter to strike out in the American League. He strikes out once in every 23.8 plate appearances. The next guy is 15.1.
Slow chopper to Beltre. Only play is to first. Santana gunned down. Kipnis to second. He's there with 1 out for Michael Brantley.
Guys, I want to go back to the last inning and look at this fly ball that Ramirez hit. But what I really want to focus on is Blanks and how well he's playing left field for the first time here. You see he's going back on this ball, and you know it's a little bit tricky out in left field. You've got the slant where it comes in, and then you've got the foul pole, and you have very little foul territory. Now you look at him, look down once, find the wall. He's going to look again. Now, that was his second look. He finds it. He's not afraid of it. He knows it's there, and he's adapting to this very, very well right now. Because it's a left field here is kind of tricky with the way the wall comes in before you get to the foul pole. So he's looking pretty good out there.
And that after not having an opportunity because of some soreness to take many fly balls out there early.
Right. It's not as easy as he's making it look, that's for sure, especially for playing it for the first time.
Right.
You'll see a lot of guys have trouble in the right field corner, especially in right center field where the Globe Life sign is. It juts out right there by the bullpen. But that corner down there in left field, it's pretty tricky.
Pitch outside to Brantley. Doesn't appear right now that Wandy Rodriguez or Carlos Corcoran really want a whole lot to do with Michael Brantley. Brantley's 2 for 2 tonight. Even though you have the right-handed hitting Ryan Rayburn coming up next, they're not real thrilled about trying to throw something in the middle of the plate.
It's probably a smart move right now. Brantley's a great hitter, and you've got a runner at second base in scoring position, the go-ahead run, and that first base open, which typically, lefty on lefty, you're probably not going to walk him intentionally. But Wandy's pretty smart. He hasn't been around this long for nothing.
This is 17th professional season. 3-0 pitch, went with a breaking ball and just nibbled on the outside corner for a strike. 3-1. Gipnis at second. Joe West feeling a little benevolent with that last call.
The thing about Brantley is a .350 hitter against left-handed pitching.
And he takes that pitch inside for ball 4.
Mac, you were talking about Blanks knowing where the wall was and getting to the ball in left field. Earlier in the game, there was another ball where a fielder didn't have quite as much success playing the wall.
Right, this is pretty tough. Doesn't really know where he's at. His first time playing on this field, so not knowing where he is, and he didn't look over. You've got to be able to take your eye off the ball and look and see where you are, especially when you're in a new ballpark. And for this young kid, just had a lot of room left and didn't really realize it. And doesn't seem like he got a lot of help from his own dugout, and you really rely on that. You've got your guy coming over to try and make a play. You've got to talk to him. You've got room. You're okay. You've got to tell him something. And it doesn't look like he got a whole lot of help. You see him all standing there. Everybody's looking at the ball and nobody looking at him and saying words.
They didn't pay any attention to him.
Wow.
Buzz made a point that he's a shortstop and he's never played third base, so he's probably had very few opportunities to go near the dugout to try to make a play.
Yeah, when you're a middle infielder and you go to the corners, you're used to being in the middle of the infield and running everywhere. You're not used to running it. Yeah, not used to obstacles in the way. And that dugout, especially that bar over there, it's a pretty big obstacle.
1-1 to Rayburn. And Rodriguez checking second. Kipnis kind of bouncing around out there. Now Corcoran's going to go out and have a little chat. And this tandem goes back to their days in Houston together. Carlos back down there. They've decided what they want to throw, and Wandy is ready to do it. And we got the breaking ball to come in through the back door. 1-2. Rayburn, a fly ball to right in the first, a strikeout in the third. The Indians have 2 runners aboard against Wandy Rodriguez here in the 5th inning with 1 out. Rodriguez peering in for the sign. Now has the one he wants. And that breaking ball didn't miss by much. 2-2. Yuji Fujikawa up and loosening in that Ranger bullpen. Fujikawa just up from AAA from a rehab assignment in AAA. Got into the ball game yesterday and worked a very clean inning. Two balls and 2 strikes. Now time call. Don't you know that Joe West is muttering under his breath behind home plate?
I'm not sure he's muttering. I'm pretty sure everybody within earshot is hearing him right about that.
Probably. Slowly chopped to first. And Mitch underhanding to Wandy Rodriguez coverage for out number 2. Kipnis to third. Brantley to second. They are there with 2 outs for Nick Swisher. Earlier tonight, Jim Knox was with a very special trophy.
All right, Buzz, how about for golf lovers out here at Globe Life Park, the U.S. Open Trophy. That's right. You know, the U.S. Open Golf Tournament comes to Fox. Coverage begins June 18th. Check out this great trophy. Some of the names, some of the past winners. Tiger Woods, a 3-time winner. Jack Nicklaus right there. Tom Grief. Not just kidding, Tom, but what a trophy. It will be on display at various golf courses around the DFW over the next 4 days. And look at this, huh? Very nice. Like to hoist this thing up. One hand, huh, Mom? Huh? Buzz?
Hope Noxie didn't drop that. They get very, very possessive.
Pretty valuable if you can't touch it without gloves.
Yep.
They say Pudge didn't care whether it had
not.
gloves on.
He did not.
He just grabbed it.
He grabbed it. Yes, he did. And they reminded him very quickly. Gloves. Surprised he didn't know that, the golfer that he is nowadays.
He does now.
The question is, does he care about it?
That's the other question. I have the answer to that as well.
Breaking ball over the outside corner to Nick Swisher. Swisher has doubled twice tonight. Drove in a run with his first double in the first inning. Doubled and scored leading off the fourth inning. Got Giptus at third, Brantley at second. 2-1 the count. Nancy Swisher back in the lineup only about the last 10 days. Spent the first month rehabbing his knee. Grounds one to the right side. It's through for a base hit. Giptus scores. Brantley will score without a throw. And Nick Swisher taking the breaking ball the other way, a 2-run single, has the Indians on top now 5-3. That's just a pretty good piece of hitting.
It was. Pretty good day for Swisher. Double and an RBI the first time up, double and scored a run the second time up, and a base hit to drive in two the third time up. It's a high curve ball and just goes the other way with it, finds a hole.
So 5 runs on 8 hits now for the Cleveland Indians. Rangers with 3 runs on 7 hits. Swisher at first, and Brandon Moss fouls the pitch off to the left. Moss tonight is grounded to short and skied to center field. Moss, you remember last year, had a big year in Oakland. Takes a strike. 21 home runs, and that was in the top 10 in the American League. Also drove in 66 and less than a full year of playing. 1 ball, 2 strikes. That one's topped down the first base line, and Mitch will just flip it back to Rodriguez. Still 1-2. Wandy approaching the 100 pitch mark here in the 5th inning. It has been, again, that kind of night for him. Pitch count's been run up. His command has not been quite as sharp as we have seen it the last couple of times out. Kind of reminiscent of the first 2 times that he worked for the Rangers. It's out of play.
Is that frustrating, Buzz, to go out there and you know, with the way he's been pitching his last few outings and come out and be just a totally different pitcher?
Yeah, it really is, Mac. It's, you know, and really for no apparent reason. You don't feel any different. You just know you can't do the same things with a baseball that you're used to doing, or that you had most recently. And you know, I'm sure all the work you did between starts felt identical. You know, no physical issues. It's just the darndest thing. You're back out there, and it's almost like somebody else crawled into your skin. Different person. Hey, who is this guy? Get him out of here.
Yeah, I think I know that feeling very well. One day you go 3 for 4, hit everything on the nose, and the next day you come back and you feel like you're swinging with the other end of the bat.
Exactly. Moss slices that to left, hit it pretty well, but it's out of play.
And how tough is that as a starting pitcher? You've got to wait 4 more days before you can do anything about it.
That's that's both a curse and a blessing. If you get your ears pinned back, you'd like to get right back out there and do it. Although, the same token, you get your ears pinned back and say, I need some time off away from this. That was a little too much. But it does give you, if there's something specific you can pinpoint that you can work on between starts, then that gives you some confidence going into your next start. If you don't know what it was, that's a problem. It was like one of those things we were talking about where you go 3 for 4 one day and 0 for 4 the next day with 4 punch outs, and you don't know what happened. That's when you're really lost.
I know what happened to me when that happened. I faced J.R. Richard or something like that. It didn't matter how I felt. I feel great. I just can't hit him. He's just too good.
Well, there were a lot of people in that category, Tom.
Unfortunately, you're right.
No, I mean in JR's category. I mean hitting against JR.
I hear you.
Well, that's going to do it for Wandy Rodriguez. So the hit batsman, and he's at 101 pitches. And Jeff Bannister on his way to the mound. So Wandy, not the kind of outing he wanted to have. He will depart trailing 5-3. A couple of runners on base. Kyuji Fujikawa is coming on for his second appearance in a Ranger uniform. We'll take a timeout. We're back to Globe Life Park right after this. Fujikawa is on the hill now. Happy Ranger fans. You're going to have to wait about half an inning, though, to get the Rangers back to bat. See if they can catch up on this thing. So Fujikawa, who worked yesterday, his first outing of the year. Very clean inning in the 8th inning against the Kansas City Royals. Fujikawa battling arm miseries and Tommy John surgery. Trying to get himself back to where he was a couple of years ago with the Chicago Cubs. Zach Walters at the plate. And he has a hack at that first pitch for strike 1. Walters' first hit in an Indian uniform last time up. Drove in a run, tied the ball game in the 4th inning. The Indians have since added 2 more. Swisher out at second had the big hit, a 2-out, 2-run single. 1 ball and 1 strike. Fujikawa spent his 30-day rehab assignment down at Round Rock, and got himself to the point where he felt good enough to say he could help the ball club here at the big league level. Throws that fastball and a very good forkball, a split finger pitch, if you will. His is a little more like a forkball than it is a splitter. At Round Rock, 10 games for Fujikawa with a 194 average against. Worked 9 1/3, walked 9, so that was a little higher than what he wanted, but most of those walks came early in those 10 games. 2-1. Now 3-1. Fujikawa originally signed by the Chicago Cubs as a free agent back before the 2013 season. Only pitched in 12 games that year. Had to be shut down with Tommy John surgery. And then last year got back into 15 games with the Cubs, but had not regained the full strength that he needed. That ball's hammered to right field. Chu going toward the corner at the track. Reaches up and makes the catch. Nice play by Shin-Soo Chu to take extra bases away from Zach Walter. That'll do in the 5th, but the Indians take the lead on a couple of runs halfway through the game. 5-3 Cleveland. Last play of the top of the 5th inning.
Nice play by Chu. He's going back. He knows he's getting to the track and getting to the wall, able to jump up. He knows where he is. He's played right field long enough, year and a half now, or almost a year and a half now. So he knows this ballpark very well, and that's what happens. You're able to make plays like that when you know a particular ballpark. This isn't an easy play. He knows the wall is coming sooner or later, but he's right there. You see that left hand was up as he goes up to make the play just in case he runs into the wall. He'll be able to brace himself a little bit.
Prince Fielder leading off the 5th inning for the Rangers. And big swing and a miss. It is 0-2. Fielder, Beltre, and Blanks in the 5th inning. Fielder 1 for 2 tonight. A 2-run home run in the 1st. That's out of play to the left. Lonnie Chisenhall back and active again. He is in the game at 3rd base with Zach Walters moving to left field. So Walters taking over Ryan Rayburn out there in left. No balls, 2 strikes. That ball is hit well to left center field. Brantley on the run in the alley right next to Zach Walters. And he hauls it in for out number 1. off the bat, that looked like it might be a little bit better than it turned out. But Brantley playing a pretty good center field, able to run it down with ease.
That's the second ball that has gone drifting toward left field. There was one earlier in the game where Brantley stopped and it went right to Rayburn in left field. That one was kind of drifting toward the left fielder. Fortunately for them, there was no collision.
Walters was close to running into the third base, the dugout over there, Cleveland's dugout, and he was close to running into one of his teammates.
He's in unaccustomed territory.
That ball's going to find you.
Well, one gone. Here's Adrian Beltre having a pretty good night. How about take a look at the AT&T U-verse rewind. First inning, number 400. Adrian Beltre on to Greens Hill out there, and that gave the Rangers a 3-2 lead. Beltre has also added a double to his resume tonight and takes a strike here.
Wow, 400. 400 of anything in this game is a lot. But 400 home runs, that's a pretty spectacular feat.
Two balls, two strikes. We'll take a look at our Coors timeless moment. Adrian Beltre, the third player to hit his 400th career as a Ranger. He joins Rafael Palmeiro and Juan Gonzalez. Haven't done that. 2-2 pitch. Hitting. And Beltre, as is his nature, going to go and pick the ball up, flip it back to Ryan Webb, and hit on down to first.
Oh, wow. Never ceases to amaze me.
Nope. Just get drilled, and you're going to make sure you play nice and say, okay, here, I'll get the ball for you. Got him right on the calf. Well, that's going to do it for Ryan Webb as Terry Francona back out to the mound. And I think you heard Adrian. Oh, I would have said something more than that, I think. So Beltre has now knocked two pitchers out. He knocked Chen out with a double. Now a hit batter knocks Webb out of the ball game. So another pitching change. We'll take a timeout. We're back to Globe Life Park right after this. All right, Dana, thank you. Well, here the Indians have changed pitchers once again. It's right-hander Zach McAllister now in the bullpen for Cleveland, coming on to face Kyle blanks, and the first pitch is a belt high strike. McAllister working out of the bullpen, his 14th appearance of the year, 0-1, a 338. Opponents hitting over 300 against him. It's a rip and a miss. He's down in the count, 0-2. Kyle tonight, 1 for 2. Had a first inning single, reached on an error in the third inning. The fans might remember Zach McAllister as a starter for the Tribe in years past. This is his first time really working a lot out of the bullpen. Still 0-2.
You know, Tom, I don't know about you, but what I really didn't like, I didn't like seeing guys come out of the bullpen throwing 95 and above.
Yeah.
Because you knew they were only going to be out there for an inning, maybe 2 innings. And so they're using everything they have.
I think you see that a lot more now, way more now than back when Buzz and I played. When a guy came in from the bullpen or even a starting pitcher and he was throwing 95 miles an hour, I won't say it was rare, but you might have seen one in a bullpen. Now there's some bullpens where if there's 7 or 8 guys in a bullpen, there's 3, 4, and sometimes even more than that guys throwing 95 miles an hour. It's not rare at all now. So you pretty much have to dial it up and be able to handle the heat, boy.
To left center field, Walters retreating. He's in front of the track and makes the catch. Back to first goes Beltre. There are now 2 outs, and Mitch Moreland coming up. Well, and this Cleveland Indian team is a team that has a bullpen like that. They've got a bunch of hard throwers down there.
Kansas City
does too, yeah.
You just know those guys are going to come out of there throwing, 95 sinking, 97 sliding. That's not fun to face. Not fun to face. It's great if they're on your team.
Right.
Not fun to face.
You shorten the ball game by 2 or 3 innings. You get a bunch of guys down there like that. Mitch tonight has struck out both times he's come to the plate. That's fouled out of play to the left. Mitch last time up against Ryan Webb fouled the pitch down on his front foot, or front leg, and really was hobbled for the rest of that at bat. Got Beltre at first. 2 outs here in the 5th. Rangers down by a pair. It's 5-3. Oakland being held on by Carlos Santana down there first. McAllister set. And hits the inside corner. 0-2.
We're talking about closers, and not just closers, but late inning bullpen guys and how hard they throw. You can think of some of the greatest closers back in the 70s, 80s, were guys that didn't throw that hard. Bruce Sutter was not a hard thrower. Sparky Lyle wasn't a hard thrower. Dan Quisenberry wasn't a hard thrower. There were some. Jim Kern was.
Yeah.
Bruce Gossage was. I guess Raleigh Fingers was somewhere in between. He had that big breaking ball. And how hard would you think he threw? 92-ish?
Yeah.
With a hard sinking action to it.
But, I think like a lot of people, you never saw his good fastball until he was ready to show it to you.
Yeah.
He always had a couple more miles per hour in his back pocket.
Well, the other thing, Mac, you're talking about the guys coming in nowadays, the closers for sure. It's 1 inning. Back then, those guys, Sparky Lyle, Kern, Gossett, they used to pitch 2 innings, 2 1/3. Yeah. Raleigh Fingers, on a number of occasions, probably pitched 2 1/3 or 3 innings. So they had the good stuff. They'd come right at you, but they also had to be ready to throw 50 or 60 pitches sometimes.
Yeah, that's unheard of today.
Yeah, it's almost rare when you see a closer come in the 8th inning to get 1 out.
He was trying to catch that bag, but just pulled it a little too much. Still 1 ball and 2 strikes. pitch in the dirt. 2-2. Beltre, the runner at first.
Back when we played, you didn't see radar gun speeds on the scoreboard. As a player, did you always look at the scoreboard to see how hard the guy was throwing? Did that something for every hit, every pitcher you faced?
No, I pretty much had a good, pretty good idea of what guy, how hard guys threw, and that really wasn't a factor for me. Like if a guy was throwing, hard, all that really mattered to me was did it move. If a guy was throwing, like Billy Koch, fastballs, it was just like putting it on a rail. So it didn't matter if he was throwing 101 or 102. It was straight.
Yeah.
Now, if it was 100 or 99 and it had some left or right, no chance. So I just wanted to know if it had movement.
And Moreland strikes out for the third time tonight. The Rangers strand Beltre. 5-3 Indians as we go to the sixth. Mac, thanks for joining us. We will catch you later on Rangers Live after the ball game. Yeah.
Seen before the game, the Fox Sports Fan Express rolling in from Oak Cliff, right? That's right, on board baseball and softball players from Adamson High School. Can you believe it? They're at the Ranger game having a great time. Josh Ragsdale, the athletic director. You guys give us some famous alums that came out of Adamson High School.
There's been some famous. Jim Wright just passed recently. Pinky Higgins, manager of the Red Sox. E. King Gill, the original Aggie 12th man. Kelvin Palmer's playing for the Arizona Cardinals right now. Pretty historic.
Nice. And Adamson High School's been around how many years?
100 years. Just celebrated 100.
That is awesome. Well, great to have you guys at the ballpark. And thanks for riding the Fan Express. Hope you guys have a good time. Thanks. Uh-oh.
Yeah, you are right, Nazi. Uh-oh is right. Brett Hayes driving one into the seats in left field. His third home run of the year, and the Indians now have a 6-3 lead.
Yeah, Hayes came into the game with only 25 at bats. He only had 4 hits. A couple of them were home runs. Now he's got 5 hits, and 3 of them are home runs. He's making the most out of his base hits.
So, Yuji Fujikawa, who came in to get the final out of the 5th inning on a fly ball, gives up the leadoff home run to Hayes, and now Jose Ramirez will step in. First pitch misses for ball 1. Ball into the left field seats.
Nice catch.
Yeah, it was. 1 ball and 1 strike. Fujikawa in 27 games with the Cub lookout And that is going to be apparently a warning. West walking down there with Ramirez to make sure that he wasn't going to the mound. And a warning by Joe West to both benches and to the pitchers involved. Fujikawa.
I have no idea why in the world Ramirez would think he's throwing at him. He hit 178 with 1 home run. But the last thing he wants to do is hit him. I mean, no one likes to get hit by a pitch, but if you think of the situation, it's ludicrous to think he's throwing at him.
And that is the first hit batter for the Tribe, or second hit batter for the Tribe tonight. Rangers have had 2 hit batters. So accounts are all even. 1 on, still nobody out. Kipnis at the top of the order for Cleveland. Jason Kipnis tonight 2 for 3. He has scored twice, providing that spark we talked about for the Cleveland Indians from the top of the order. Kipnis showing bunt and takes ball 1. This is Kipnis' 19th game batting leadoff for the Indians. Coming into tonight, he was hitting .370 with 14 runs scored. On base plus slugging at 1101. Sam Freeman up and loosening in the Ranger bullpen. Carrollton product. 1 ball, 1 strike. Little looper that's going to fall in left center for a base hit. Ramirez around second will motor into third. And Kipnis with his 3rd hit of the night. He is 3 for 4. And the Indians have runners at the corners, nobody out for Carlos Santana.
Kipnis hits pitch. It looked like he hit it off the end of the bat. Just kind of lofted it in left field for a base hit. Kipnis a couple of years ago had a season where he hit in the 280s with 17 home runs and knocked in 84 runs. Last year was a down year for him. He only hit 240 and only hit 6 home runs. He's making a comeback season this year, though. Came into the game hitting .316. He's 3 for 4 and scored a couple of runs in this one. Kipnis always been a good base runner, too. 52 stolen bases in the last couple of years.
So Andy Hawkins out there to have a little chat with Kyuji Fujikawa. In case you missed it again, Mike Maddox off for a couple of days, attending to a daughter's graduation over the weekend. Andy Hawkins taking charge down in the dugout. 2 on, nobody out. Carlos Santana 0 for 3. Nice block by Carlos Corcoran. That forkball in the dirt. 1-0. Santana, 4 home runs, 19 driven in. Fujikawa set a check of the runners. There's that forkball that tumbles in on the outer part of the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike. That was the euphemism that Gaylord Perry used to use for his pitch. It was a forkball.
Yeah. Everybody, Gaylord had that down to such a science. The opposing hitters thought he threw a spitball about 50 times a game. Jim Sundberg told me one time that he went 6 or 7 starts in a row without ever throwing a spitball.
Yeah, after a while, he didn't need to.
No, the other team was so psyched out thinking it was coming. It worked without throwing it. He'd save it up for the right time or the right guy. He threw a couple of Reggie Jackson one day with the bases loaded, and He swung at one that bounced, and he was so mad. Gaylord's almost laughing coming off the mound.
Reggie brought that out in guys, didn't he?
Yeah.
An opposing pitcher. 2-2.
It is an interesting topic of discussion, though. I don't necessarily want to get into it, but how we can smile and Gaylord can write a book about throwing a spitball, and Tom Brady can be accused. I have no idea what he did. He can be accused of deflating a football and be vilified for it.
There is a called third strike to Carlos Santana. That forkball tumbling into the top of the strike zone. That's number 1.
It's almost like gamesmanship is accepted in some areas of baseball. He didn't swing at many bad pitches, but that one was a strike. That one caught the top of the strike zone.
And that looks like it's going to be it for Kyuji Fujikawa. Sam Freeman, left-hander from Carrollton and Hebron High School, is going to be asked to face Michael Brantley, runners at the corners, and 1 out. We'll tell you more about Sam Freeman when we come back after this timeout.
Sam Freeman on for the Rangers here in the 6th, and the bullpen struggles have been well documented of late, and the manager of this club even admits it has him scratching his head at times.
It's been a challenge. I'm not going to, sit here and say that it doesn't make me scratch my head, but it comes down to, again, being able to execute pitches. Still have confidence in the guys that are out there. When we've made mistakes, they've made us pay. They've gone out of the ballpark, and they haven't been, 1 runners. They've been 2 and 3 runners.
And that has been one of the difficult things for this bullpen and for this coaching staff to deal with, is the fact that they haven't really been able to have consistent guys in place that they can trust in regular spots. And so things get jumbled up here and there.
All right, Ed, thank you. And, Sam Freeman giving a calling card to Michael Brantley up and in. Yesterday, Sam came in, worked an inning and 2/3 against Kansas City, gave up the 2-run home run to Eric Hosmer in that ball game. And that was one of the things, talking about the execution of the pitches. Sam Freeman said after the ball game, look, I just didn't execute. Simply, I got ahead 0-2. And threw one basically down the middle of the plate. He said, that's on me.
Yeah, he'd actually thrown a couple other ones down the middle of the plate that were fouled off.
Yeah.
He'd gotten away with a couple of them.
Maybe he felt bulletproof.
Well, maybe he thought he couldn't hit it.
There's a good fastball down the way to Brantley, and that's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Good location with it right there at 93 miles an hour.
Sam, a 27-year-old. I mentioned he grew up in Carrollton, went to Hebron High School. Football and baseball star there. So ended up at the University of Kansas for a couple of years. 1-2 pitch. Line to right. Chu started in, has to go back. It's over his head. 1 run is home as Ramirez scores. On to third goes Gipnis. Into second with an RBI double. His 3rd hit of the night is Michael Brantley. And that makes it a 7-3 Cleveland lead.
That guy can hit. I mean, even if he catches that ball, it's a sacrifice fly. He's got 2 strikes on him. Swung and missed at a pitch, took a good pitch, and just ripped a rope. The warning track in right field. Now his eyes lit up. See the size of his eyes when he hit that ball. The hardest play for an outfielder is a line drive hit right at you. And that one, I think, went a little farther than Shin-Soo thought it was going to go.
No, runners at second and third now. The infield all the way in. And Lonnie Chisenhall with his first at bat of the night.
You see the 2 steps in and too late after that.
Well, Brantley with his 11th double, his 2nd double of the night. Fly ball to left center off Chisenhall's bat. Kyle Blanks makes the catch, tagging at third Kipnis. He will score. Sacrifice fly for Chisenhall, and that makes it an 8-3 Cleveland lead. You know, Tom, we were talking about the Cleveland Indians pregame. About an all or nothing team.
Yeah.
Here's an example of the all for the Cleveland Indians. 8 runs and 11 hits tonight.
Exactly right. They'll probably shut him out tomorrow.
Well, 2 out now. There's another hot swinging Cleveland Indian hitter. That's Nick Swisher. He is 3 for 3 tonight. Kipnis is 3 for 3. Michael Brantley is 3 for 3. Nick Swisher is 3 for 3. That's your 1, 3, and 5 hitters. 1 ball and no strikes. And Swisher at 273. He has driven in the 3 runs. That's all he has had this year. You got Brantley at second. And 2 outs. Two and all the count. Rangers acquired Sam Freeman right at the end of spring training. Trade with the Cardinals. Sam up and down with the Cardinals since 2012. Made his major league debut in St. Louis that year and worked in 24 games. Shooting it the other way and moving to his left. Tommy Field plucks it out of the air. Side retired, but the Indians come up with 3 more runs on 3 hits. They lead 1 after 5 and a half. 8-3 Cleveland. Slam inning brought to you by Sonic. Tonight's jackpot is worth $1,300 and dinner for two at Sonic Drive-In. Tonight the Rangers are hitting for Travis Kindred from Flower Mound. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, Travis Kindred from Flower Mound will win $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Tommy Field starting things off, bottom third of the Ranger order, facing Zach McAllister. Tommy hit by a pitch his last time up. He is 0 for 1 officially tonight. Taking a strike to make it 2-1. High and tight. 3 balls and a strike. The Texas native went to Texas State down in San Marcos. Originally a Rockies property as he takes a strike here to fill the count out. And Tommy trying to get aboard to lead off the Rangers' sixth. He'll be followed by Carlos Corporan. Payoff pitch. Got him swinging. Mallister, pretty lively fastball. Gets his second strikeout.
The catcher, Carlos Corporan.
Folks, Tuesday, June 2nd, the first 15,000 fans at Globe Life Park will get a Rangers beach towel courtesy of Coca-Cola. Come on out and catch the first game of a 3-game series against the White Sox and pick up this summer giveaway. Call 972-RANGERS or visit TexasRangers.com for tickets. Carlos Corporan tonight, 1 for 2. A single in the second inning. Last time up, tapped back to the mound. That's out of play to the left. The count moves to 0-2. Carlos and Wandy Rodriguez tonight looked like they were having a little difficulty. A lot of indecision, I think, between the two of them as to what they wanted to do adjustment-wise during the game. I think that the fact that Wandy was having trouble locating gave him one feeling, and Carlos, trying to stay with the game plan of his design, gave him a different feeling. So he had a lot of time in between pitches where they were trying to figure out what to do next. Still 1-2. Yeah, that's something we don't think about very often. You know, not only is it frustrating when you have a night like Wandy Rodriguez had tonight, it's frustrating for the pitcher. It's also frustrating for the catcher, because most catchers feel like, hey, that's, you know, I'm partly responsible for that.
My job to guide him through this night.
Exactly. Again, foul back to the screen.
And Mac was talking about relievers coming in and throwing in the mid-90s. Mallister's doing that, 94 to 96. Pitch he struck Mitch out with a fastball was 96.
Again, the 1-2. Call, strike 3. Carlos knew that as soon as it hit Hayes' glove. He didn't even bother to turn around and wait for Joe West to ring up the right hand. Third straight strikeout for McAllister.
Not sure exactly what that pitch was. It was 88 miles an hour. Most of his fastballs have been 93 to 95. That was 88, so took something off it.
Here's Delino DeShields, who's 1 for 2. DeShields, the bunt single, back in the second inning. Last time up, grounded to third. 2 balls, no strikes. Delino now with the average at over 300, 302 as he faces McAllister. Anthony Bass out there in the Ranger bullpen. Chopper over the mound, over the bag. Off-balance throw by Kipnis, not nearly in time. And the Roadrunner is on again.
Well, you know, Buzz, we were talking the first time up when Delino bunted down the first baseline. We were talking about wondering how many right-hand hitters have ever gotten to first base quicker than that. And you know, I thought it might have been as low as 3.6. It was actually, according to our technicians in the truck, even faster than that. He got down to first base on the bunt at 3.54 seconds, which is extremely fast for a right-hand hitter. I'm not sure what his time was there. It was probably because he wasn't bunting and running. Right, he had to swing. It might have been, you know, maybe 3.7, something like that. Kipnis made a nice play and would have gotten virtually every other hitter in the league. Maybe Mike Trout, Craig Gentry. But he had no chance to get Delino.
Here's Shin-Soo Choo, who's 0 for 3 tonight. There's that 14-game hitting streak on the line here. How's that pitch back? The count is 1-1. Yeah, I can't really come up. Mike Trout might get down the line as fast as DeShields, but the way Trout's going about hitting now, he doesn't take the ball the other way very often, so he's not headed toward first. Yeah, he's taking bigger swings.
I think the only way he could get to first base in 3.54 is if he did the same thing.
Right,
bunted toward first base and had a little bit of momentum going toward first base.
Now that's going to be a fun part of when we get StatCast available.
Yeah,
for our telecast.
I wish we had that.
We'll sometime this year is what we're promised. They're working some bugs out and things.
It'd be nice over a period of a couple of years to compile statistics on who are the 5 fastest runners to first base, right-hand hitters, left-hand hitters. And it doesn't necessarily determine who the fastest runner is, because a lot depends how quickly you can get out of the box. A guy with a big swing that follows through as a right-hand hitter has a hard time getting out of the box. So he may be faster, but it takes him longer to get to first base after he makes contact because he doesn't get the same start.
Shin-Soo Choo grounds out to second for the 3rd time tonight, and that'll do it. The Rangers get a hit from DeShields, but strand him. We have finished 6 here tonight. It's the Indians 8 and the Rangers 3. Great start, highlighted by Adrian Beltre's 400th career home run, a 3-run first. And Adrian got congratulations all around Globe Life Park. When the Indians came back, Nick Switzer having a big night. He had a 3-hit night and 3 RBI. Drove in 2 there, and that propelled the Indians to their current lead of 8-3 as we head to the top of the 7th inning. Rangers again going to their bullpen. Anthony Bass answered the call, and He has come out now to work the 7th inning. Bass becomes the 4th pitcher used by the Rangers tonight. Wandy Rodriguez, Yuji Fujikawa, Sam Freeman, and now Anthony Bass. Brandon Moss starting things off for the Indians. 0-2 after the foul ball. Moss tonight has been hit by a pitch, grounded out, and flied out. Cleveland doing some damage. 8 runs on 11 hits tonight. Rangers, meanwhile, 3 runs on 8 hits. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Bass, the Detroit native, facing Brandon Moss. Just missed the outside corner. 2-2. Talked about Anthony Bass, who originally was figured in the long man in the Ranger bullpen. All of a sudden, Rangers found a need, or had a need, in the middle part of the game, and sometimes even later in the ballgame. Anthony Bass, because of his ability to throw strikes, and you kind of had an idea what you're going to get each time out, fit into various roles. And Jeff Bannister's trying to figure out exactly what roles fit whom the best. Towering pop fly down the right side, and Tommy Field staring up into the dark of night. Makes the grab for out number 1. Moss with that major league pop out. 1 gone, and Zach Walters now will come up. Well, this is the point that we had in our pregame. Consistently inconsistent for the Tribe, and this would have to say this is on the 12-win side, what they're doing tonight. When they win, as we mentioned, they really put it together. 3.017 average, averaging almost 7 runs per game. Well, they put up 8 tonight. 3.30 run average with runners in scoring position. They've done that tonight. This is just a team that when they get on a roll in any given game, they can run away from it. And if you put your foot down on their chest and say, no, you're not going anyplace, then they have some problems. They certainly got out to a start tonight and just kept adding on once they got even in the ballgame. Walters had a base hit in the 4th inning that at that point tied the game at 3 apiece. And then the Indians able to put together a 2-run 5th and a 3-run 6th. Still a ball and 2 strikes. Anthony Bass peering in for the sign. And he gets another pop-up. Beltre and Carlos Corcoran. It's Corcoran for out number 2. Next will be Brett Hayes, the catcher. Anthony signing as a free agent with the Rangers in the offseason. Last 4 years, he's been on an opening day roster with either San Diego, Houston, or the Rangers. Chopped down foul by Hayes, 0-1. Hayes last time up launched his 3rd home run of the year off of Yuji Fujikawa into the left field seats. Didn't really mean to do it. Bass will have the plate at first, and that'll do it. So Anthony Bass able to come in and work a very quick 1-2-3 7th inning. 8-3 Tribe as we head to the bottom of the 7th. Now let's join Chuck Morgan as he introduces God Bless America.
Will you please rise as we remember the service?
Well, the Indians leading the Rangers 8-3 as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning. Let's take a look at tonight's Kubota Power Stats for you. Colby Lewis with some great May numbers. How about 3 starts in the month, 2-0, an .086 earned run average and 21 innings of work. Opponents hitting a measly 157 against him. A little bit over 8 strikeouts per 9 inning for the 35-year-old veteran right-hander. Scott Atchison is the new Cleveland pitcher on the hill as we go to the bottom of the 7th. Atchison facing Elvis Andrus, Prince Fielder, and Adrian Beltre. Speed and in for a strike. It is 0-2. Atchison, 14 appearances prior to tonight. .238 opponent's batting average. And he dispatches Elvis Andrus on 3 consecutive strikes. Elvis standing there and admiring him. He's gone to lead off the 7th inning.
Well, he didn't hit the middle of the strike zone. He kind of worked all the way around the strike zone, but they were all strikes.
The Skag pitch tracker showing you that not much in the middle squares. Prince Fielder fouling that pitch off. A defensive change. The Cleveland Indians have a new center fielder. That's Michael Bourne. Taking over out there. And Michael Brantley moves over the left field. And Prince Fielder. And that pitch work its way in on him. And Prince not a real thrill with that. Fielder was hit 2 times yesterday.
I can't figure out what's going on with all the hit by pitches.
Third baseman, Beltre.
That's scary territory up there, though.
Sure is. Well, Joe West had already issued warnings to everybody, and he apparently didn't feel that was indicative of any penalty. He could very easily have thrown.
Yeah, after a warning.
Throwing Atchison out and Terry Francona. Beltre fouling that pitch down. Adrian now in an 0-2 hole. Scott Atchison, who lives up in Keller.
You couldn't tell whether that pitch was a fastball or a cutter, could you?
It was a cutter, I believe.
Yeah, which generally wouldn't be the kind of pitch you throw if you're going to throw at somebody.
Yeah.
But just one of those nights where pitches are getting away from pitchers. It doesn't appear that any of those are intentional. We have no idea what's going on down in the dugout, but I don't know why the Rangers would throw at Jose Ramirez when he was hit. He was a little upset.
Beltre leaning on that breaking ball down and away. 1-2. You saw the sign out in center field congratulating Adrian Beltre on his 400th home run. He is now 52nd all time. And goes down to a partial knee there. Fouls it off. Yeah, he did get all the way down.
That was his home run pitch right there, down on one knee.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Scott Atchison, originally drafted by the Seattle Mariners, not once but twice. He signed with them. Out of play.
He's got quite a bio for places he's played over the years, 15 or 16 years.
Yeah.
It looks like.
Yep. Yeah, he's covered most of minor league baseball in one form or another.
Man, he has fouled off some pitches that, well, most people wouldn't swing at him, but if they did, they sure wouldn't make any contact. What that pitch is? I mean, that's up in the white territory. That almost hit the Skag sign.
Yeah, we're going
not even close to the strike zone.
We're going to have the folks at Skag expand that a little bit for me. Otherwise, we're going to lose Adrian all the way off.
Won't be able to see the ball. It'll blend in with the white.
2-2. And that's out of play to the right. Only a few pitches in the strike zone, but yeah, he loops one to left center field. Bourne on the move, and Michael Bourne able to run it down. And so Beltre with a long at bat, 11 pitches. And he finally flies out to center field.
Left fielder, Kyle
1 gone,
Blanks.
or I should say 2 gone. And Kyle Blanks coming up. Let's send it over to Dana Larson for a Mazda game break. All right, Dana, thank you. Blanks shoots one under the glove of the diving Gifness for a base hit to right. Kyle with his second hit. So he is 2 for 4. He's with 2 aboard and 2 out. Mitch Moreland's coming up. Blanks at first. Fielder down to second. Moreland facing the TCUX, Scott Atchison. Moreland tonight has struck out 3 times. All 3 appearances at home plate. It's been a rough night for Mitch. Average of 286 overall. Ball 1 down and in. Two and nothing. Atchison in his second year with Cleveland. Last year appeared in 70 ball games for the Indians. He was 6-0 with a 275. And Moreland pops it up to shallow left. Trio of Indians coming on. There's Brantley making the call and the catch. And that'll do it for the Rangers. No runs a hit. They strand 2. We're going to the 8th inning. It remains 8-3 Indians over the Rangers.
Earlier, first inning, Adrian Beltre going deep to center for a career home run, 400. And guess who was on the bottom of the pile fighting for the ball? It was Brandon. Out of all people, Brandon, congratulations. Not only did you get Adrian Beltre's 400 career home run ball, you also got the Progressive Fan of the Game. Now, what happened after you got the home run ball? Augie, the clubhouse manager of the Rangers, definitely took care of you, right?
Oh, he sure did. He may or may not have told me to let everybody know that he runs a Class A organization down there.
And if he said that if you saw Knox in the stands, what did he tell you?
He said to let everybody know how much he took care of me, and to let everybody know that he's a great guy.
Okay, and how did he take care of you? What did you get?
I got an Adrian Beltre signed jersey, Adrian Beltre signed baseball bat, and fan of the game.
There we go, big guy. All right, congratulations. You're a PE teacher from where?
Bedford Heights Elementary. And I just want to tell the kids, guess what? Mr. Willihan's bringing for show and tell on Monday.
There we go. All right, congratulations. Appreciate it. There you go. Augie took care of you.
Pretty good night at the ballpark.
Not bad.
Got to meet Hoggy Price. Doesn't get any better than that. Never mind the jersey. That's what show and tell is, a picture of him and Hoggy together.
Jose Ramirez grounds out to start off the 8th inning for Cleveland. Now back to the top of the order. And Jason Kipnis. Kipnis 3 for 4. He has 3 singles. He has scored 3 runs. Good breaking ball from Anthony Bass. It is 0-2. Gipnis now a .329 average. Good pitch by Bass, got him in the fist. Still 0-2. Indians 8 runs on 11 hits tonight. Rangers 3 runs on 9 hits. Tried the back door and just missed. Another base hit. Kipnis with his 4th single of the night. A 1-out hit here in the 8th inning, and Carlos Santana coming up. 4 for 5.
First baseman Carlos Santana.
Well, how about our DraftKings player to watch? All of the Rangers on there. Adrian Beltre, a 2 for 3 night, a double and a home run, his 400th home run of his career. Prince Fielder 1 for 3 with a 2-run home run. Shin-Soo Choo an 0 for, he's 0 for 4, and Wandy Rodriguez not his best night. Carlos Santana 0 for 4 tonight. A couple of groundouts, a couple of strikeouts. Maybe a double play ball. Field to Andrews. And back to Morgan. 4-6-3, and that takes care of the Indians in the 8th. No runs a hit. Nobody left. Bottom of the 8th coming up. Rangers coming to bat. They trail the Indians 8-3.
Bottom of the 8th here at Globe Life Park in Arlington. This the opener of a 3-game series between the Indians and the Rangers. They will play game 2 tomorrow night. Same time, same place. Things get going at 7 o'clock here on Fox Sports Southwest. Danny Salazar and his 48 strikeouts going up against Prince Fielder and his hot hitting bat of late. All of this valuable information brought to you by the fine folks at AT&T Ubers, fellas.
All right, Dan, thank you. Well, we head to the bottom of the 8th now. Brian Shaw has come in from the Indians bullpen to take over. He throws a lot of cut fastballs. This is his 19th game. He's a very durable pitcher out there for Terry Francona's club.
There's a cut fastball for you, Buzz.
Dealing to Tommy Field starting off in the bottom of the 8th. Field 0 for 2, hit by a pitch, and he struck out and grounded out tonight. Shaw with those pant legs pulled way up high. He's ahead in the count now. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Shaw, a 27-year-old. Grew up Northern California. Now lives out in the desert out in Arizona. Just off the outer edge, that slider missed. 2-2. Shaw came up for the first time with Cleveland in 2013. He appeared in 80 ball games last year. It was the most in the American League. 3-2 to Field. Payoff pitch. Got him swinging. Well, Shaw gets the first strikeout, or I should say the strikeout of the first hitter he faces. Now it'll be Carlos Corcoran. Shaw came over to the Cleveland Indians, that big trade. They brought Trevor Bauer, Matt Albers also over. It was a three-way trade. Shin-Soo Choo was involved in that. He went to the Reds in that deal. Slider in at the belt to Carlos Corcoran. Carlos 1 for 3 tonight. Chopper slowly hit to Santana, the first baseman. He fumbles it. But over there in time to cover first, Brian Shaw. And he took the underhand toss from Santana for out number 2.
The Rangers had 6 hits with nobody out in the second inning. And since that time, they've only had 3. Bruce Chen was able to keep the Rangers at bay in the second inning after they had a leadoff single and a bunt single by Delano DeShields. 2 men on, nobody out. They couldn't score. And then Terry Francona made a pitching change in the 3rd inning. And the Rangers have only had a couple of hits since then.
Yeah, that kind of changed things around.
Sure did.
When Francona took Chen out after the Beltre double with 1 out, went to the bullpen, and you're right, they haven't been able to do anything with the Indian bullpen. Ranger hitters have just gone stone cold. Lino taking a strike to even things out at 1-1. The Shields 2 for 3 tonight. Pair of singles, one a bunt single, the other an infield single, a chopper over the mound. And he watches that slider come in at the knees. 1-2. Lino filling in very, very capably for Leonys Martin, and the Rangers still not sure about Leonys Martin, what's going to happen with him. Leone Kella getting loose out there in the Ranger bullpen. Martin reported some progress, but not quite enough to start swinging the bat effectively. And the Rangers mulling whether to give him a little bit more time or put him on the disabled list and backdate that injury. 2-2 now the count. Shaw ready to work. And a little pop-up foul territory. Santana over to make the catch, and the Rangers go out 1-2-3 in the 8th. After 8 complete here at Globe Life Park, it remains the Indians 8 and the Rangers 3 on Fox Sports Southwest.
Rangers down 8-3 as we head into the 9th inning. We want to remind you we've got the post-game show coming up right after the game. Join me, Mark McLemore, and Pudge Rodriguez. Much more on that major milestone for Adrian Beltre. Also, perspective on what was the difference tonight for Wandy Rodriguez. Also, we'll hear from the manager, Jeff Bannister, and set up tomorrow's start for Colby Lewis, the medical marvel and ageless wonder. We'll have a lot more coming up. It is Rangers Live, the post-game edition, and it is on the way right after the game. Buzz and Tom.
All right, Dana, thank you. Now we head to the top of the 9th inning. Keone Kela has come out of the Ranger bullpen to take over on the hill and facing Michael Brantley. Kela appearing in his 18th ball game already. There's that 3-1 record. 258 opponents batting against him.
He caught that ball. What a catch behind the plate. Situation where it makes no difference whether he catches it or not. Watch this catch.
Close your eyes, stick your glove out. Sometimes it goes in
Stabbed in the dark.
Michael Brantley, a 3-hit night going. That pitch way inside to him. 2-1. Brantley, 2 doubles. A single, a walk. He has scored twice. He has driven in 2. And he's had a stolen base. Other than that, it's been a quiet night. Check swing on the pitch away, and he peeled down to third just in case. No swing. Rob Drake down there making that call at third. So 3-1 to Brantley. Now full count. Brantley leading off the number 3 hitter in the Indians lineup, Lonnie Chisenhall, the third baseman. Waits to be next. Inside, ball 4. So Brantley has a perfect night at the plate. 2 walks, 3 hits, and he is aboard to start the 9th. Folks, this Sunday, Rangers wrap up this 3-game series against the Indians. It's also the first kids giveaway of the season. First 7,500 kids, 13 and under, receive a U t-shirt. That's courtesy of Scott's Miracle Grow. Visit TexasRangers.com for tickets today. Chisenhall going after that first Kela offering, fouls it away for strike 1. Chisenhall entered the game defensively in the 6th inning. Make that the 5th inning defensively. Came to bat in the 6th inning and had a sacrifice fly. No official bat yet tonight. Chisenhall hitting at .221. A little blooper into foul territory. Beltre over, but can't quite get there in time. The ball had not hit high enough for Adrian to be able to snag it. We'll come back and try it with an 0-2 count. Chisenhall, 3 home runs, 15 RBI with that sac fly in the 6th inning. Hitting here with Brantley at first, nobody out in the 9th inning. Hit well to center field. The liner to Shields retreating right at the edge of the warning track. Able to make the grab for out number 1. Folks, we just want to remind you that tomorrow, 2 legendary fighters square off in a special morning edition. It's a UFC fight night. Former champion Frankie Edgar and the California kid Uriah Faber meet for the first time. That's tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock only on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Now one away, and Nick Swisher, who is 3 for 4, has done a lot of damage tonight. He has 3 RBI. That's from the left side for the second time tonight. Swisher, a pair of doubles and a single. He has scored a run to go along with his 3 runs driven in. Two balls, no strikes. RF camera roaming around Globe Life Park. That is the left field foul pole right there. Shot it down the left field line. 3-0 the count. And ball 4. Swisher will take the walk. Second of the inning for Keone Kela. First and second now, one gone, and Brandon Moss will come to the plate. And Andy Hawkins going to go out and visit with the 22-year-old right-hander. Carlos Corporan joining in that confab. See what they can work out. Try to get something positive going for Keone, something positive to focus on.
It's been kind of a whirlwind 6 weeks for Keone, making the big leagues out of spring training at such a young age. This is not a critical situation for him to come into, but he's had a lot of them late in the ball game, close games, right from the start, from his first appearance. It's been a good learning experience from him. He's shown the ability to come into clutch situations and get hitters out. Unusual for him to come in and walk a couple of guys like this.
So Alex Claudio, there's a broken bat roller. Could be a pair right there. It is.
Okay, those 2 walks.
That's exactly what Andy Hawkins went out there to tell him.
Yep, break the bat.
Ball and will get you a double play. Oh, one left for the Tribe. Rangers will come to bat in the bottom of the ninth, trailing 8-3 to Cleveland. Texas Rangers baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. By AT&T UVerse TV. UVerse has more live TV channels on the go than cable. And by your Texas Ford dealer. The EcoBoost Challenge is on at your Texas Ford dealer. Get to your best in Texas Ford dealer today. Ranger fans hanging on and hoping. Rangers trailing 8-3. We head to the bottom of the ninth inning. It'll be the top of the order. And the new pitcher on the mound for the Indians is Cody Allen, hard-throwing right-hander. Lives in the Metroplex. Cody Allen, a 26-year-old born in Orlando, Florida. And he can rush the ball to home plate with the best of them. Shin-Soo Choo gets a real close look at that pitch from Cody Allen.
Allen's struggled a little bit this year. He's 5 out of 6 in save opportunities, but he's given up some hits and also some walks.
2 balls, no strikes.
Walked 9 batters in 12 innings. Struck out 18 in 12 innings too. So yeah, definitely got some good stuff.
Shin-Soo, don't forget, has that 14-game hitting streak on the line in the 9th inning. He's going to take a strike at the knees. It's 2-1. Now Cody Allen fitting into the all or nothing idea that the Indians have going in his own way.
Yeah.
Right-hander back to the plate. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Choo, 3 times tonight, has grounded out to second base. Hit a ball to left center field back in the second, which by all rights should have been extra bases. Got to the wall, but Ryan Rayburn at the time made a great catch. And it's fouled back, and it's still 2 balls, 2 strikes. Cody Allen, the last 2 years with Cleveland, 2013 and 14, 77 appearances and 76 appearances. Got him swinging. Well, Shin-Soo Choo, an 0 for 5. And unless the Rangers rally to tie the ball game, his hitting streak has come to an end at 14. Elvis Andrus now to the plate. Elvis 1 for 4, first inning single. Was up there hacking at that high fastball. It's 0-1. Cody Allen, a very simple approach to things. He'll throw you a pretty good 4-seam fastball, and he has that hard power curveball that he throws.
There it is. That's it. Every time you call it, you say what kind of pitch it is, he throws it for you.
Okay, he's got a good screwball. Let's see if he can come
That's going to be a test.
Let me see if he can come up with that one. 1-1 pitch. That was a left-hander screwball. Elvis gets it on the fist, fouls it back out of play. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Elvis a .224 average. Facing Cody Allen with the bases empty and 1 away in the 9th inning. Pitch all the way to the backstop, but now they appeal down to first, and Gabe Morales down there says no swing.
That's a tough one for a hitter. If you're not sure whether you checked your swing and the ball goes back to the screen, you have a choice to make. Do you run to first because you feel like you can get there and have the umpire say, yep, you struck out, but you got to first, or do you want to stay at home plate and hope that he doesn't call it a strike? If he does, then you're out by a mile.
The 3-2 pitch coming. Inside, ball 4. Elvis draws the 1-out walk. Well, there's your all or nothing. A strikeout and then a walk.
The walk's been a little bit of an issue for him. And that's one thing that you certainly don't want from your closer, is to have problems with bases on balls. Closer generally doesn't have a whole lot of margin for error late in the ball game. A lot of times you come in, it's a 1-run game. You have to get 3 outs. And walks can be a huge problem for you.
That's the first walk issued by Cleveland pitching tonight. They have hit 3, but that's the first walk. Here's Prince. High and away for ball 1. Go back to the first inning. Prince fielder to deepest right center field. Up into the seats. And fielder with his 5th home run of the year. Had a 2-run blast, increased his RBI total to 22. Two balls and no strikes to fielder. Prince, along with a home run, has flied to center field a couple of times and hit by a pitch back in the 7th inning. There's a strike. 2-1 to him. Cody Allen already getting ready to throw his 16th pitch of the inning. Elvis at first with a very modest lead. And fielder lines one to left center field. Brantley moving over from left field makes the catch. And back to first goes Anders. There are now 2 outs.
Third baseman, Adrian.
You put Bourne and Brantley side by side that outfield. Not much is going to get down between them. Cover some ground out there. Well, Adrian Beltre up there with one more opportunity. Beltre 2 for 3 tonight. His 400th career home run in the first, a double in the 3rd. Hit by a pitch in the 5th. And fly to center in the 7th. Allen with a belt high set. And Beltre skies to center field. Playable for Bourne. And that is going to do it. So the Cleveland Indians, Rangers catch them on an upcycle tonight. Indians get 8 runs on a dozen hits and throttle the Rangers.